Welcome back, everybody. Today's progress. I got the lens out for the right wing and decided it was time to make the big scary cut on it. Now that I have the landing lights built and the brackets are painted and ready to go in, I wanted to get everything assembled. The idea being that I'm going to pull these wings out of the stand soon. The right one can come out pretty much whenever this is done, and put them in the cradle. Well, the cradle holds the wing leading edge down, so I figured it would be a lot easier to just go ahead and get this done and get it all installed before I put them in the cradles. So that's the push for this right now. Got the Dremel out with what should be a plexi cutting blade, and it seemed to work pretty good. It left a little bit of a burr on the edge, but it snapped pretty cleanly right off. So I have no video of what I spent most of the afternoon doing, but I do have some pictures at the end. I went and built the cradle to put the wings in. Ran out, grabbed some lumber, got the cradle all built and ready to go. I've got some casters coming tomorrow, and once I throw those on, that thing will be ready to go, and pretty much at any point, as long as I got some place to put it, I can pull that right wing out and put it in the cradle, and then remove the stands for the right wing off the garage floor, and that'll free up some more space. I've got another overseas trip coming up at the end of the week, so I won't have help to be able to rivet those top skins on the left wing until probably after I get back, unfortunately. But plenty of other little stuff I can do like this. Lots of back and forth with the directions, just making sure I'm doing all of this right. I don't want to break or crack that plexi. They tell you to make absolutely sure that the edges are completely smooth so you don't invite a crack anywhere. So lots of sanding. The deburr tool worked really well for that as well. And funny thing, you'll see me fitting it in the wing here in a little bit so I can drill the holes in it. And yeah, here we go. I remember thinking, oh, this fits just fine. I can get it in and out of there with no problem. Of course, this was before I put the bracket for the light in and before I put the light itself in. Now that they're both in, it's kind of a different story. So I don't know if I need to do some more trimming or what I'm going to do, but the directions tell you to put some packing tape on the lens to help hold it in position. Since my wing is exposed, I can just reach in and hold it from the inside. The directions do warn against doing that, or at least putting too much pressure on it, because if you're wedging it in there really hard right now, once you add the gasket material, the nut plates and everything else, you may not be able to get it to line back up. So I was as careful as I could be to just hold it into position and not try and force it. And it fits the contour of the wing perfectly, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. So you drill holes to number 40 to match the ones I drilled in the wing skin way back when I cut the holes. Pull it out, clean everything off, cleco it back in place, and then upsize all of the holes to number 30. I recommend using dull drill bits for drilling through the plexi. Luckily, my number 40 and number 30 have been through quite a bit, so they're nicely dulled. I could definitely see a difference because here in a little bit there's a part where I have to upsize the holes in the plexi to 5/32, and the only bit I have to do that is a brand new, never used bit, and it was a little terrifying because I could feel it trying to grab the plexi and I was afraid it was going to split it. But went really, really slow with it, backed it out, kept cleaning the burr off, and managed to get through them all without causing any cracks. Now it's doing all the regular prep to the brackets to get them ready for the nut plates. So all the deburring, the dimpling. Again, the directions recommend countersinking the holes instead of dimpling for the rivets. I opted to dimple them, and I just dimpled the nut plates. These nut plates have plenty of space and give to them that they were pretty easy to dimple. And now it's just rivet the nut plates onto those brackets. And these are for 632 screws. All the screws that come in the kit are flush head Phillips screws in stainless steel. I am not a fan of stainless steel hardware. It galls very easily, so whenever you're using that stuff, make sure you've got some sort of a lubricant on there, be it anti-seize, Loctite if you're going that route, because it'll act like a lube until it dries. Something. For these screws, I just used Bow Lube. For the screws that hold the bracket in, which I didn't get video of me fighting with that thing, but those screws I put anti-seize on. The bracket the light goes in is by far the worst 4 screws I've had to put in the entire plane. I fought those things like crazy to finally get them started and in there. It's just not an easy thing to do, not for me anyways. Anyhow, it's time to attach those retaining brackets to the lens. They provide some double-sided tape. I just happen to have a roll of 3M's VHB tape right there, so I elected to use that because I know that stuff holds on to everything. And it's not structural, it's just holding the bracket to the lens, and then the screw is going to go through the skin, through the lens, and then through the nut plate, and that's ultimately what's going to hold everything in place. They also say you can use some pop rivets to hold it on there, but I don't want to drill any more holes in that plexi than I had to. So now off camera there, I am dimpling the holes on the wing to accept the 632 screws that got to go in there. The directions say you can use a number 30 dimple die, or you can use one for a number 6 screw. I tried the 30 dimple die first. I really wasn't happy with the way the screw sat in there, so I just upsized it and went with the actual number 6 dimple. The screw sits in there perfectly now. So I went and installed the lens by itself just to make sure it all fit and went in nicely, and there's the picture. Fits up nice. I didn't have it all tightened down, so you see a little bit of a gap. And then when I was getting ready to wire the lights, I had an oops. My daughter, as we speak, is sorting through that mess for me, thankfully. The lights have these little push-in connectors with these little blades that grab hold of the wire, and I tried and I couldn't get them to lock onto the wires. They just kept pulling out if I jostled the light at all. I tried putting ferrules on them thinking that would help. That just made it worse, so ultimately I just decided to solder the wires into the little cups on the light, and there it is in the wing. I'll add connectors later on, but so here's the cradles. I think it looks pretty good. Should work. Anyhow, thank you all for stopping by. See you on the next one.